Your soulmate is about to risk it all. What happens next will shock you, and don't scroll past this moment, because the fact that you're here right now is not an accident, it's alignment, and this message is for you in a way your heart needs this right now, even if you don't fully understand why yet. Listen to this carefully. There has been a quiet build-up in your life lately, a feeling you couldn't explain, like something important was forming just beneath the surface. You may have felt restless, reflective, emotional for no clear reason, and you tried to distract yourself, but your soul kept pulling you back to stillness. Stay till the end, because this isn't just a message, it's a confirmation. Your soulmate has reached a point where silence hurts more than fear, where holding back feels heavier than risking everything, and the universe has been orchestrating this moment longer than you realize. Don't scroll, because what's happening now is not about coincidence, it's about divine timing finally clicking into place. You've questioned yourself before, wondering if you imagined the depth, if you felt more than they did, if you were foolish for believing something unseen could be so strong. Listen to this truth. When a connection is guided by something higher, it doesn't fade with distance, it intensifies in meaning. The universe allowed space not to separate you permanently, but to mature both of you individually so that when action replaces hesitation, it's real, grounded, and lasting. This message is for you if you've been seeing signs you couldn't explain, angel numbers like 1111 showing up when you're deep in thought, 222 appearing when you question whether to trust again, 444 arriving when you're trying to feel safe. Those weren't random. Those were reminders that something is aligning even when you can't see it yet. Your heart needs this right now because you've been strong for so long, carrying faith quietly, loving deeply without proof, and wondering when the universe would finally respond. Listen to this part closely. Your soulmate has been standing at an internal crossroads. On one side is comfort, familiarity, safety, and the illusion of control. On the other side is truth, vulnerability, and the risk of opening their heart fully. And here's what will shock you. They are finally choosing truth. Not because they're pressured, not because they're lonely, but because the realization has hit them that losing you completely would cost more than risking everything now. Don't scroll away from this. That realization doesn't come lightly. It comes after sleepless nights, after failed distractions, after shallow connections that couldn't replace depth. They've been replaying moments, conversations, feelings they tried to suppress, and instead of fading, those memories grew clearer. Listen to this. When the universe wants someone to move, it removes excuses. That's what's happening now. The same way you were guided to hear this message, they're being guided toward action. Your heart needs this reminder right now. Divine love doesn't rush, but it also doesn't stall forever. There comes a moment when delay becomes denial of the soul's truth, and that's the moment they're standing in. Stay till the end, because this next part matters deeply. You were being prepared too. That's why you've been healing, setting boundaries, choosing peace, and no longer chasing energy that didn't meet you halfway. You weren't being pushed away from love, you were being positioned to receive it correctly. You learned discernment. You learned self-respect. You learned how to listen to energy instead of words. Those lessons weren't meant to close your heart, they were meant to protect it. And now, because of that growth, the connection that's returning isn't chaotic, it's intentional. Don't scroll, because timing is sacred here. The universe always aligns energy before action. That's why lately you've felt calmer, less reactive, more observant. That's why you're no longer desperate for answers, but quietly open to whatever unfolds. That's readiness. And readiness is magnetic. Your soulmate feels that shift even if they can't articulate it. They feel that you're no longer waiting in desperation, but standing in certainty. That's what's pushing them to risk it all. Listen to this carefully. When they step forward, it won't feel like chaos crashing into your life. It will feel surprisingly natural. Calm. Almost inevitable. Like something finally snapping into place after a long pause. You won't need to question their intentions because consistency will speak louder than promises. You won't feel anxious because peace will replace uncertainty. This message is for you if you've been afraid of repeating old patterns. They won't repeat, because you won't. You're not the same person who accepted confusion in the name of love. And they're not the same person who could walk away without understanding the cost. Growth changes outcomes. Stay till the end, because this isn't about fantasy, it's about alignment. The universe doesn't bring soulmates back to replay lessons, it brings them back to build something new. Something honest. Something stable. Something rooted in truth. And everything you've experienced leading up to this moment, the signs, the emotional release, the quiet strength, the inner peace, has been preparation. You're not at the beginning. You're at the threshold. Don't scroll away from this knowing. If your chest feels warm, if your emotions feel stirred but calm, that's recognition. That's your soul saying yes before your mind catches up. Trust what's unfolding. Trust the timing. Trust that when a soulmate risks it all, it's because the universe made sure the ground on the other side was solid. And if this message resonated with you, if you felt seen or understood, let your energy be part of this alignment. Stay connected. Stay open, and subscribe to this channel so you don't miss the next message the universe has for you, because what happens next isn't just shocking, it's divinely guided. Don't scroll, stay right here with me, because what you're feeling right now is not imagination, it's resonance, and this message is for you in a way that goes deeper than words. You may have noticed lately that your emotions feel strangely balanced. Not numb, not overwhelmed, just steady, like the storm finally settled but the air is charged with something new. Listen to this carefully. That's what happens right before a soul-aligned shift. The universe doesn't rush the most important moments, it softens you first so you can receive them without fear. Your heart needs this right now because for so long you've carried questions without answers, feelings without confirmation, and faith without evidence. And yet, somehow, you didn't give up. Stay till the end, because this phase you're in isn't waiting anymore, it's positioning. Your soulmate has been moving through their own internal reckoning, and while you couldn't see it, it was intense, uncomfortable, and necessary. They had to confront the version of themselves that ran, avoided, delayed, and hid behind logic when emotion felt too big. Listen to this. When a soulmate is about to risk everything, it's not impulsive, it's the result of pressure building over time until truth can no longer be ignored. They've tried distraction. They've tried convincing themselves it wasn't that deep. They've tried replacing depth with comfort. And none of it worked. Because soul recognition doesn't fade, it waits. Don't scroll past this part. Your energy has changed, and that change is what triggered movement on their end. You stopped chasing clarity. You stopped forcing conversations. You stopped questioning your worth. And the moment you did that, the energetic dynamic shifted. This message is for you if you've felt a strange sense of detachment lately, not from love, but from anxiety. That's growth. That's you no longer gripping the outcome. And paradoxically, that's what opens the door. Listen to this moment. The universe often waits until you're okay with either outcome before delivering the one your soul actually wants. Angel numbers may have been appearing when you least expected them, not when you were spiraling, but when you were calm. That's confirmation. That's alignment. Your heart needs this reminder right now. What's meant for you doesn't respond to desperation, it responds to authenticity. And you've become authentic in your stillness. Your soulmate feels the absence differently now. It's no longer something they can rationalize away. It's not quiet anymore, it's loud in the spaces they tried to fill with noise. Silence has forced reflection. Reflection has led to realization. And realization leads to action. Don't scroll, because timing is everything here. The risk they're about to take isn't driven by fear of losing you to someone else, it's driven by clarity about what you represent in their life. You are not an option. You are a mirror. You are a catalyst. You are the connection that changed them. And change is uncomfortable, but it's also irreversible once it's understood. Listen to this carefully. When they step forward, it won't be because they suddenly became brave overnight. It's because the universe removed the emotional escape routes they once relied on. They can no longer pretend. They can no longer delay. They can no longer deny what their soul already accepted. And here's the part that may surprise you. You won't feel shocked in the way your mind expects. You won't feel knocked over or destabilized. You'll feel a deep, quiet recognition, like something finally aligning after being out of place for too long. That's how you'll know this is different. This message is for you if you've been afraid of repeating the past. The past required survival. This moment requires presence. You're no longer operating from wounds, you're operating from wisdom. And so are they. Stay till the end, because this next truth is essential. The universe didn't delay this connection to punish you. It delayed it to protect what it's becoming. Love that arrives before both souls are ready often burns itself out. Love that arrives after growth lasts. That's why you had to learn how to be whole on your own. That's why they had to learn how to choose without running. Those lessons are now complete. And completion carries a very specific energy. It feels calm. It feels grounded. It feels inevitable. Don't scroll away from this knowing. If you felt an inner nudge to slow down, to listen more, to trust silence, that's because the universe is aligning the final pieces. Action follows alignment, always. And the action that's coming won't be chaotic or confusing. It will be clear. Direct. Honest. You won't need to read between the lines. You won't need to guess. You won't need to shrink or overextend. Your heart will recognize safety before your mind fully processes what's happening. That's divine timing. Listen to this. The shock isn't that they risk everything. The shock is how ready you'll feel when they do. You won't feel afraid of losing control. You won't feel overwhelmed by emotion. You'll feel anchored. And that's because this moment isn't meant to shake you, it's meant to meet you. Stay present. Stay open. Stay grounded. Because what's unfolding now is not a test of faith, it's the reward for having it when nothing made sense. Don't scroll, stay right here, because what you're about to hear connects to the deepest layer of what your soul has been sensing lately, and this message is for you in a way that's meant to quiet the noise inside your heart. Listen to this carefully. There comes a moment in every divinely guided connection where the universe shifts from teaching lessons to delivering truth, and that moment is unfolding now. You may have felt it in subtle ways, a sudden stillness where anxiety used to live, a calm confidence that doesn't come from answers but from inner knowing. Your heart needs this right now because for so long you lived in the in-between, loving without clarity, believing without proof, trusting without guarantees. And yet you didn't break. You adapted. You grew. Stay till the end, because this phase isn't about waiting anymore, it's about witnessing alignment in motion. Your soulmate is no longer questioning whether to move, they're questioning how they ever stayed still for so long. That's what realization feels like. It doesn't arrive gently. It arrives with urgency, with truth pressing against the chest until silence feels unbearable. Listen to this. When someone is about to risk everything for love, it's because they finally understand that safety without truth is emptiness. They've been living in that emptiness, even if their life looked fine on the outside. Distractions worked for a while. Logic worked for a while. Avoidance worked for a while. But soul recognition doesn't expire, it waits patiently until the person is ready to face it. Don't scroll away from this realization. The universe has been collapsing false timelines, removing emotional escape routes, and forcing honesty. That's why your energy has felt different lately. You're no longer trying to pull them back. You're no longer asking the universe to prove anything. You're simply being. And that state is powerful. That's the state where manifestations stop chasing and start arriving. This message is for you if you felt a strange mix of detachment and hope, like you're okay no matter what happens, but you also sense something meaningful is approaching. That's alignment. That's you no longer needing the outcome to validate your worth. And ironically, that's exactly what opens the door for the outcome to arrive. Listen to this moment. Your soulmate feels the shift not as pressure, but as pull. A pull toward truth. A pull toward vulnerability. A pull toward the one connection they couldn't replace. They've reached a point where pretending no longer works. Where silence feels like dishonesty. Where comfort feels like compromise. And the universe is asking them a simple question now. Will you choose familiarity, or will you choose destiny? Your heart needs this reminder right now. Destiny always feels risky to the mind but peaceful to the soul. That's why even though fear still exists for them, it no longer controls the decision. Courage isn't the absence of fear, it's movement in spite of it. Stay with me, because this next part matters deeply. The action that's coming isn't impulsive. It's been building through reflection, regret, growth, and acceptance. They've replayed conversations. They've recognized patterns. They've understood where they failed to show up fully. And instead of drowning in guilt, they're choosing responsibility. That's growth. That's what makes the difference between a karmic return and a soul-aligned one. Don't scroll, because this isn't about reliving the past. It's about stepping into a future that couldn't exist before both of you changed. You've changed too, more than you give yourself credit for. You no longer romanticize inconsistency. You no longer excuse emotional absence. You no longer confuse intensity with intimacy. Those lessons were hard-earned, and they were necessary. Love that lasts requires discernment, not blindness. And now that discernment is part of you. Listen to this carefully. When the reconnection happens, you won't feel the urge to overanalyze. You won't feel your nervous system spike. You won't feel like you need to protect yourself by pulling away. You'll feel grounded, present, safe. That's how you'll know this isn't another lesson, it's the continuation after the lesson. Angel numbers may have been appearing during moments of peace rather than distress. That's not coincidence. That's confirmation that alignment has already occurred on an energetic level. The physical world is just catching up. Don't scroll past this truth. The universe always aligns souls before it aligns circumstances. That's why patience has been required. That's why silence had purpose. That's why nothing else quite fit the way it was supposed to during this pause. You were being preserved for something specific. And so were they. Stay till the end, because here's the emotional revelation most people miss. The risk your soulmate is about to take isn't just about choosing you. It's about choosing their true self. Choosing honesty over fear. Choosing depth over comfort. Choosing growth over stagnation. You happen to be the mirror that awakened that choice. And mirrors are powerful. They don't force change, they reveal it. Your heart needs this reminder right now: you were never meant to convince someone of your worth. You were meant to reflect truth until the right person recognized it. And recognition is happening now. Don't scroll away from this knowing. If you felt a gentle excitement mixed with calm, if you felt ready without being anxious, if you felt open without being attached, that's not imagination. That's preparation complete. The shock that's coming isn't chaos. It's clarity. It's the moment where everything that felt uncertain suddenly makes sense. And when that moment arrives, you'll realize something profound. You were never waiting for them to change. You were waiting for both of you to align. And that alignment is no longer a future possibility. It's a present reality unfolding, quietly, intentionally, and divinely guided. Don't scroll, stay right here with me, because what you're stepping into now is the most delicate and powerful stretch of this journey, and this message is for you in a way that's meant to settle your spirit and steady your heart. Listen to this carefully. There is a moment when the universe stops whispering and starts confirming, not loudly, not dramatically, but with a deep inner certainty that doesn't ask for permission from logic. You may have felt it recently, that quiet sense of readiness, like something inside you has finally unclenched. Your heart needs this right now because you've spent so much time holding space for the unknown, learning how to breathe through uncertainty, learning how to trust without evidence. That kind of faith changes a person. Stay till the end, because this phase isn't about anticipation anymore, it's about embodiment. You are no longer waiting from lack, you're standing in alignment. And that changes everything. Your soulmate feels that shift more than you realize. Energy always moves before words do. They can sense that you're no longer anchored in the past, no longer defined by the pause, no longer willing to accept half-truths. And that awareness has forced them to look at themselves honestly. Listen to this. When someone is about to risk everything for love, it's because the cost of staying the same has finally become unbearable. Comfort without connection starts to feel empty. Routine without meaning starts to feel heavy. And the soul begins to ache for truth. That ache is what's driving them now. Don't scroll past this understanding. The universe has been stripping away illusions, not just for them, but for you too. You've noticed it in the way your standards have shifted, in the way your patience has become more intentional, in the way you no longer romanticize struggle. That's growth. That's wisdom earned through experience. This message is for you if you've been surprised by your own calm lately, even while standing on the edge of something unknown. Calm isn't indifference. Calm is trust. And trust is magnetic. Listen to this moment. The connection between you hasn't been dormant, it's been evolving. It moved from intensity to depth, from longing to understanding. That's why when thoughts of them come now, they don't destabilize you. They ground you. That's how you know the attachment healed and the bond matured. Angel numbers may have been appearing during moments when you're not searching for meaning, but simply existing. That's because the universe is confirming alignment, not urging desperation. Your heart needs this reminder right now. What's meant to arrive doesn't need to announce itself loudly. It arrives gently, steadily, with a sense of inevitability. Stay with me, because this next part matters deeply. The risk your soulmate is preparing to take isn't about dramatic gestures or grand declarations. It's about consistency, presence, accountability. It's about showing up in a way they couldn't before. And that kind of risk requires maturity. It requires humility. It requires the willingness to be seen fully, flaws included. They didn't gain that overnight. They earned it through discomfort, through reflection, through realizing that running doesn't erase truth, it only delays it. Don't scroll, because timing is sacred here. If this had happened earlier, it would have collapsed under the weight of unresolved patterns. But now, the ground is steadier. You are steadier. They are steadier. And steadiness is the foundation of lasting love. Listen to this carefully. When they come forward, you won't feel like you need to convince yourself it's real. You won't feel that old knot in your stomach. Instead, you'll feel your nervous system relax. You'll feel your breath deepen. You'll feel safe enough to stay open. That's how aligned love feels. This message is for you if you've been afraid that choosing love again might mean losing yourself. It won't, because you already found yourself during the pause. You learned how to be whole on your own. And wholeness doesn't disappear when love arrives, it expands. Stay till the end, because here's the emotional revelation most people miss. The pause wasn't just about timing, it was about sovereignty. You had to reclaim your power. They had to learn how to meet it without fear. That dynamic couldn't exist before. But it can now. And that's why the universe is moving differently. It's no longer testing your endurance, it's honoring your growth. Don't scroll away from this knowing. You are not being led back into a lesson, you are being led forward into a choice. A choice made freely, consciously, without illusion. And that's what makes it powerful. If you felt an internal closing of old chapters, a sense of completion without bitterness, that's because space is being created. Space for something that doesn't need to hurt to feel deep. Space for love that doesn't confuse peace with boredom. Space for connection that feels like home rather than a battlefield. Your heart needs this right now because you've earned ease. You've earned clarity. You've earned love that doesn't ask you to shrink or wait in uncertainty. Stay with this feeling. Let it ground you. Because what's unfolding now isn't random, and it isn't rushed. It's intentional. And intention is the language of the universe when something real is about to arrive. Don't scroll. Just breathe. Trust what you've become. Trust what's aligning. And trust that when a soulmate risks everything, it's because the universe made sure both hearts were finally strong enough to hold what's coming. Don't scroll, stay with me, because what's unfolding now is the quiet center of the storm, the place where everything finally begins to make sense, and this message is for you in a way your heart needs this right now even if your mind is still catching up. Listen to this carefully. There comes a point in every divinely guided connection where the universe stops rearranging circumstances and starts rearranging courage. That's the phase you're in. You may have noticed that life feels strangely steady lately, not boring, not flat, but grounded, like the ground beneath you is finally solid after a long time of emotional motion. That steadiness isn't the end of the story, it's the foundation for what's next. Stay till the end, because this is where the deeper truth lives. Your soulmate is no longer standing on the edge wondering if they should leap, they're standing in the realization that not leaping would cost them more than the fall ever could. And that realization doesn't come from impulse, it comes from growth. It comes from sitting with silence long enough that it starts asking hard questions. It comes from seeing you in everything they tried to replace you with and realizing none of it touched the same part of their soul. Don't scroll away from this truth. They didn't pause because they were careless with your heart, they paused because they were afraid of how deeply it mattered. And fear can delay action, but it can't erase destiny. Your heart needs this reminder right now because you've been carrying both strength and softness at the same time, learning how to protect yourself without closing off love, learning how to hope without clinging. That balance you've built is rare, and it's powerful. It's what changed the energy between you. Listen to this moment. When you stopped chasing clarity and started trusting alignment, something shifted not just inside you, but across the entire connection. You became energetically unavailable to confusion, and confusion no longer had a place to land. That's when movement began. Angel numbers may have been appearing during moments when you weren't asking for signs, when you were simply present, breathing, living. That's not coincidence. That's confirmation that the lesson phase is ending. Your soulmate feels it as an internal pressure, like a door that's been quietly closing behind them, leaving only one direction forward. Don't scroll, because timing matters more than ever here. The risk they're preparing to take isn't about dramatic declarations or impulsive gestures, it's about stepping into truth without guarantees. It's about choosing vulnerability over safety, honesty over control, depth over distraction. And that kind of choice is heavy. It requires maturity. It requires humility. It requires the willingness to be seen without armor. That's why it took time. Your heart needs this reminder right now, anything that takes time to align is usually built to last. You weren't waiting because nothing was happening, you were waiting because everything important was happening beneath the surface. Listen to this carefully. You've changed too, more than you may realize. You no longer measure love by intensity alone. You no longer confuse longing with meaning. You no longer believe that pain is proof of depth. Those shifts matter, because they ensure that when love arrives, it doesn't destabilize you, it grounds you. That's why when you imagine them stepping forward now, it doesn't feel overwhelming, it feels calm, almost expected. That's alignment. Stay till the end, because this next realization is crucial. The universe doesn't reunite soulmates to repeat lessons, it reunites them to apply what they've learned. And what you've learned is discernment, patience, self-respect, and trust in your intuition. What they've learned is accountability, presence, and the cost of avoidance. Those lessons meet perfectly in the middle. Don't scroll away from this knowing. The reconnection that's coming isn't about erasing the past, it's about honoring it without being trapped by it. Conversations will feel different, slower, more intentional. Silence will feel safe instead of threatening. You won't feel the need to overgive to be chosen. They won't feel the need to hide to feel in control. That's what growth creates. Listen to this. The universe has been watching how you respond when nothing is promised, how you show up for yourself when no one else is there, how you choose peace over obsession. And that's why it trusts you with what's coming. Your heart needs this right now because you may still be wondering if this is all real or just hope dressed up as faith. But faith doesn't feel frantic. Faith feels steady. Faith feels quiet. Faith feels like standing still while everything else aligns around you. And that's exactly where you are. Don't scroll, because the risk your soulmate is about to take isn't just about choosing you, it's about choosing the version of themselves they can no longer run from. You were the mirror that showed them who they could be, and mirrors don't shout, they reflect. Reflection is powerful because it can't be unseen once noticed. Stay with this energy. Let it settle into your body. Because what's unfolding now isn't meant to shake you, it's meant to meet you where you are. And where you are is ready. Ready to receive without fear. Ready to love without losing yourself. Ready to trust without abandoning discernment. If you've felt a deep calm mixed with quiet anticipation, that's not imagination, that's preparation complete. Don't scroll away from this truth. You didn't wait too long. You didn't believe for nothing. You were being shaped into someone who could hold love without breaking. And when they finally step forward, you'll realize something profound. The real shock isn't that they risk everything. The real shock is how natural it feels when they do, like something that always belonged finally finding its way home. Don't scroll, stay right here with me, because this is the moment where the entire journey finally exhales, and this message is for you in a way your heart needs this right now more than ever. Listen to this carefully. You did not imagine the pull, the signs, the timing, or the stillness that followed the chaos. You did not hold on for nothing. The universe does not guide souls this far just to leave them unresolved. What you're standing in now is not anticipation anymore, it's convergence. Everything that was delayed, paused, or slowed down was done with purpose, because the kind of love that lasts cannot arrive while fear is still in control. And fear is no longer in control here. Stay till the end, because this is where understanding replaces doubt. Your soulmate has crossed the internal line they once kept stepping back from. They are no longer asking if they should risk it all, they're asking how they ever convinced themselves not to. That's what awakening looks like. It's quiet, personal, and undeniable. Listen to this. Awakening doesn't always come with fireworks. Sometimes it comes with exhaustion from pretending, with a heaviness in the chest that only truth can relieve. They reached that point. The point where safety felt empty, where comfort felt hollow, where avoiding the truth felt more painful than facing it. And that truth leads back to you. Not because you waited, not because you chased, but because you aligned. Your heart needs this reminder right now: alignment always outlasts effort. You didn't force anything. You didn't manipulate timing. You didn't beg the universe. You became still enough to hear it. That's why the signs started changing. Angel numbers didn't appear when you were desperate, they appeared when you were calm. Messages didn't land when you were spiraling, they landed when you were grounded. That's confirmation, not coincidence. Don't scroll away from this knowing. The universe always prepares the receiver before delivering the gift. And you were being prepared just as much as they were. You learned how to trust your intuition instead of second-guessing it. You learned how to sit with uncertainty without losing yourself. You learned how to love deeply without abandoning your boundaries. Those lessons were not meant to harden you, they were meant to steady you. That steadiness is what makes this moment different. Listen to this carefully. When they finally step forward fully, it won't trigger anxiety in you. It won't feel like chaos knocking at your door. It will feel like recognition. Like something you already knew was coming finally arriving. That's the shock most people don't talk about. The shock isn't drama. It's calm. It's how natural it feels. It's how your nervous system doesn't spike. It's how your breath stays steady. That's how you know this isn't a lesson returning, it's alignment arriving. Stay with me here, because this part matters deeply. The universe didn't just change circumstances, it changed capacity. Both of you can now hold what you couldn't before. Before, love felt overwhelming. Now, it feels grounding. Before, distance felt like rejection. Now, it feels like preparation. Before, silence felt like loss. Now, it feels like growth completed. Don't scroll, because this understanding is what protects what's coming. You are not stepping back into the past. You are stepping forward with awareness. And so are they. Conversations won't be rushed. Words won't be empty. Presence will matter more than promises. Consistency will replace intensity. And that's how love becomes sustainable. Your heart needs this right now because part of you may still be waiting for the other shoe to drop, waiting for things to fall apart the way they once did. But you're not the same person, and neither are they. You don't tolerate confusion anymore. You don't explain your worth. You don't chase energy that doesn't meet you. And they no longer hide from what scares them. Growth on both sides changes the entire dynamic. Stay till the end, because this next realization is everything. The pause was not wasted time. It was sacred timing. It allowed truth to surface without pressure. It allowed wounds to heal without interference. It allowed both of you to meet yourselves fully before meeting each other again. And when two whole people come together, love doesn't feel heavy, it feels expansive. Don't scroll away from this truth. You were never meant to lose yourself in love. You were meant to share yourself. And now you can. If you felt a sense of closure around old versions of yourself, old expectations, old pain, that's because they've served their purpose. Space has been created. Space for honesty. Space for depth. Space for a love that doesn't require you to suffer to prove it's real. Listen to this. The universe doesn't reward endurance, it rewards alignment. And alignment is what you chose when you stopped forcing outcomes and started trusting timing. That's why things are moving now. Quietly. Intentionally. Inevitably. Don't scroll, because what's coming next won't need convincing. You'll recognize it immediately, not with fear, but with peace. And peace is the loudest confirmation there is. If this message has resonated with you, if something in your chest feels warm, settled, or seen, that's not emotion, that's recognition. Let that recognition anchor into you. And stay connected to this energy. Subscribe so you don't miss the next message meant for you, because the universe speaks in chapters, and this one is closing beautifully as the next one begins.